Today is the third and final part of Eoin Colfer's chapter book, The Legend of Spud Murphy. Today is Chapter 5. Chapter 5, Off the Carpet. For weeks, everything was wonderful. We had the time of our lives. Every new book opened the door to a new world. We floated down the great Mississippi River with Huckleberry Finn. Robin Hood taught us how to shoot a bow and arrow. We caught burglars with the famous five, and Stig of the Dump gave us fort-building tips. Spud Murphy generally left us alone, so long as we returned our books on time and didn't make any noise on the carpet. A few times she had to show us the shh flashcard, but we never got up to any real mischief. Until one Monday, we ran out of books to read. We had read everything twice, even the Nancy Drew mysteries. We sat on the carpet dreading the boredom that would soon set in. It wasn't fair. Marty was so bored he was licking his forearm again, even though the Barbie stamp was long gone. He stopped licking to complain. "What are we going to do?" he moaned. "I can't sit here for 6 hours a week with no books." "Me neither." "It's such a tragedy. The adventure section is right over there." "The adult adventure section? We only have pink cards, remember?" "I know, but if one of us just had the guts to go over there, one book is all we need to get us through the afternoon." I covered my head with a book. "No way. Don't even ask. I'm not listening." Marty crawled over to me. "Oh, come on. I can't go. Spud has her eye on me." "But what about the Spud gun?" Marty pinched my cheek. "You're the cute one. If Spud catches you, she'll probably give you a lolly." "No, Marty," I whispered in case Spud heard. "I'll let you breathe my air in the bedroom." "No." "I'll let you hang around with me and the boys." "I don't want to hang around with you." "I'll tell you where Action Man is buried." I gasped. "Action Man is buried?" Marty knew he had me. "Yes." "Somewhere in the garden. The big garden. I'd say the worms are starting to nibble on him right around now." What choice did I have? Action Man needed me, and I did really want to read something. "Okay, Marty," I hissed. "I'll go, but only today. If you want a book on Wednesday, you'll have to go yourself." Marty patted me on the shoulder. "That's fair," he said. "Now, off you go. I want something really exciting." I put one foot off the carpet onto the wooden floor. It creaked like a bat squealing. In seconds, Spud skated around the corner, her slippers gliding over the polished planks. "Shh," said her card. "Sorry," I whispered. Spud's beetle eyes squinted at us suspiciously, but she continued on to the romance section. "I knew you couldn't do it, Chicken Boy," said Marty, "not even when Action Man is counting on you." I stuck my tongue out at Marty. I wasn't beaten yet, not with Action Man buried in the garden. I would show Marty that I was no chicken boy. I stripped off my shoes and socks and tried again. With utmost care, I lowered my big toe onto the boards, like a mouse testing a trap. No creak, just beautiful silence. This could work. There were no adults at this end of the library, so I only had Spud to worry about. I took one little step, then one more. Every boy knows that if you want to cross a floor silently, then stick close to the wall. I stuck so close that I could almost feel my shadow tickling my back. Inch by inch, I made my way toward the adventure section. Every patch of skin on my body was sweating. It felt as though my teeth were sweating. What would Spud Murphy do if she caught me? Would I get the stamp? Or the Spud gun? Spud gun, I guessed. After all, Marty had already received the family warning. A ladder blocked my way, a library ladder with wheels on the top. I needed this ladder to reach the adventure books. Gently, I wheeled it along the shelves towards the adventure section. It didn't squeak once. Spud kept her ladders well oiled. I could see the books now, just out of reach. I climbed the ladder slowly, waiting for the creak that would bring Spud running. One step, then two, then three, high enough to reach for a book. I made myself as tall as I could, stretching from the tip of my big toe to the point of my index finger. I took a book from the shelf and stuffed it down the back of my trousers. Success. All that remained was the return journey to the carpet. The trip back was just as scary. I was sweating so much that I began to feel thirsty. The distance between me and the carpet seemed 10 times longer than it had on the way over, and every tiny sound I made echoed around the high walls. But I couldn't stop now. If I did, Spud would surely catch me on her next round. Then I would be spudded for sure. So I took step after sweaty step until the ladder was back in place and I was safe on the carpet. Marty pulled the book out of my trousers. Well done, Will. I didn't think you had it in you. Now tell me, I demanded, where is Action Man buried? Marty grinned. In the toy box, sucker, where he always is. Oh, my big brother had tricked me again. But I was too relieved to be angry. We took a look at the book's cover. Spies in Siberia, it said across the top in gold letters. Underneath, there was a picture of a man skiing down a snowy mountain. Spud would be able to tell from 100 meters that this was no kid's book. So Marty borrowed a cover from one of the children's books and folded it over Spies in Siberia. I put my shoes and socks back on, and then we read happily for the rest of the afternoon. Those spies had a fine time with their fast cars and parachutes and kissing every girl they met. I could have done without the kissing. But the rest was great. It was the first time I had ever been this close to Marty for any length of time without an argument breaking out. At 4:30, Marty hid Spies in Siberia behind a row of Enid Blytons, and we settled back to wait for Mom. I have to admit that I was feeling very pleased with myself. I had outwitted the famous Spud Murphy. Her tracking skills had been no match for my brain. I was the king of the library. Or was I? Suddenly, Spud glided round the corner on her woolly slippers. She skidded to a stop before us, sniffing the air like one of those mean dogs skinheads own. Her eyebrows seemed even higher than usual. "Something's not right," she said in her rusted metal voice. We smiled innocently. Like most boys, we did a great innocent smile. Spud glared at us. Innocent smiles don't work with me, little men, unless you are really innocent, which I doubt. I could feel my smile shrinking, like a banana being gobbled up from both ends. Stay calm, I told myself. 30 minutes and Mom will be here to save us. Spud skated around the library floor in large circles, looking for something out of place. Her eyes flitted across the polished wood like an eagle's searching for a mouse. Finally, she came to the spot where I had started my journey. She skated past it, then stopped and turned back. Oh, no! Something had caught Spud's eye, something in the exact spot where I had stood. She bent low to the ground and followed my path to the ladder. Coincidence, whispered Marty from the corner of his mouth. Don't worry. Spud placed one hand on the ladder, pushing it along the shelves. She stopped at the adventure section. This couldn't be happening. The librarian climbed to third step and reached out one knobby finger. The finger pointed to a space on the shelf. Aha, she said. I couldn't believe it. She must have some magical powers. I was in deep trouble, the deepest. Spud climbed down and skated over the carpet. She stopped before us and said 3 words. Spies in Siberia? I tried my innocent smile again. Pardon? Spies in Siberia. One of you took it from the adventure section. Hand it over. By now, I was too scared to speak actual words. I did manage to shake my head. No, the Sheikh said, it wasn't me. Marty did a bit better. I would never ignore library rules and leave the children's section, he said, straight-faced. That would be wrong, and my parents would be so disappointed. Spud squinted at us through beetle eyes. So that's the way it is, she said. Okay, then. I want both of you to lie down. We obeyed, and with deft movements, she whipped off our socks and shoes. She studied our bare feet and eventually settled on me. Stand up, she ordered. I did as I was told. Wouldn't you, if Spud Murphy was looming over you? Spud tucked her hands under my arms, lifting me 15 centimeters straight up. I think it was you, William, she said, because you left a trail. What trail? I couldn't have left a trail. Spud glided over to the wall where I had begun my journey and set me down right on my own sweaty footprints. I had left a trail. All right, a trail of dried footprints. Now, she said sternly, hand over spies in Siberia. I was caught, fair and square. The evidence was against me. What could I do but return the book and beg for mercy? I trudged back to the children's section and took my borrowed book from the shelves. Marty shook his head in disgust. Shame on you, he said. How could you break library rules? I ignored him, too busy wondering what terrible punishment Spud would inflict on me. Here, I said, handing her Spies in Siberia. Spud shook her head in wonder. Why did you do it? Aren't you terrified of me? All the other children are. At that moment, I made the best decision of the afternoon. I told the truth, or at least some of it. I wanted a book, I said in a shaky voice. I had read all the others, most of them twice. I had to get a book. Even though you knew I might catch you? My bottom lip was wobbling like a red jelly worm. It was worth the risk. Right, said Spud. Stand in front of my desk. I have something for you. And it's not a rubber stamp. Oh, no. The gas-powered Spud gun. I was going to get spudded. Time to beg. But, Spud raised her hand. No buts. You're going to get what you deserve. Go on, in front of my desk. I walked to the desk, more frightened than I had ever been in my life. This was it, the end of my time as a cute kid. From today on, I would be known as Weird Will, the Spud-Face Kid. It was too much. I closed my eyes so I wouldn't see it coming. My ears kept right on working, supplying noises for my imagination to add pictures to. Behind me, Marty was still making tisk-tisk sounds of disgust, as though I had let him down. In front of me, I heard Spud rooting around in her desk drawer. She was probably loading the Spud gun, picking a really hard potato. "Open your eyes," she ordered. "No," I moaned. I can't." "Come on, William Woodman. Look at what I've got for you." I took a deep breath and opened my eyes. Instead of the barrel of a Spud gun, there was a blue card in front of my eyes. Behind the card was Spud's face. She was smiling, and her teeth didn't remind me of icicles anymore. They looked friendly. "A blue library card," she said. "Blue means adult. Blue means you can go anywhere you want in the library. All I ask is that you show me any adult books you pick, so I can check if they're suitable for you." I was amazed. Could Spud be rewarding me for breaking the rules? Why?" I stammered. Spud smiled again. It quite suited her face. "Because you left the carpet for a book, not to cause mischief. Books are what this library is for. Sometimes even I forget that." Wow, I had done something good. By accident. Wait till Mum heard about this. Spud winked at me. Maybe it's time I expanded the children's section and got rid of that carpet. I thought about it. Maybe you could leave the carpet where it is, but just as somewhere to sit. Spud put out her hand. "It's a deal." I shook her bony hand. Winking and handshaking? Maybe aliens had abducted the librarian and left this Spud-shaped robot in her place. "Mrs. Murphy, seeing as we're so friendly now, would it be okay if I called you Spud?" The librarian put her free hand under the desk. She twisted something, and whatever she had under there began to hiss silently, gently. "Just try it once, Woodman, and see what happens." I backed away slowly. "Maybe I'll just wait for Mum on the carpet." Good idea. Now, I know what you're thinking. Surely after Marty's terrible behavior, I would stay well out of his reach. Well, you're nearly right. I did stay out of his reach, about 15 centimeters out of his reach. I stood a meter off the carpet and waved the blue adult card at him. "Get me a book," he begged. "After that Action Man trick you pulled? Forget it." "Come on, you can breathe the bedroom air." "Well, okay," I said, and brought him Roses in Autumn from the romance section. "Not this one," he cried, reading the book cover. "I don't want a book about someone called Penelope." I was already halfway up the adventure section. I cupped one hand round my ear as though I couldn't hear him and he didn't dare shout. When I glanced Marty's way, a few minutes later, he was 20 pages into the romantic novel. At 4:10, a horn beeped 3 times outside. One long beep, beep. 2 short beeps, beep, beep. Our signal. Mum was waiting. We quickly chose a book to take home. Marty was borrowing Roses in Autumn. There's a lot of sword fighting," he said as Spud stamped the book. Spud stamped my book, too, slipping my blue library card into a little envelope. "You know, Will, now that we're so friendly, maybe you could call me Angela." I tucked my book under one arm. "See you Wednesday, Angela," I said. Spud smiled. "See you Wednesday, Will." And she did. The end.